Hello there from Culpeper Baptist Church. We are back with our friends to learn a little more about the Beja people group and what is going on in that area of the world. Last time you mentioned the radio. What's going on with technology beyond the radio there?
Well, beyond radio, there are quite a few social media things that are happening, websites that are popping up, and YouTube's big, and so there's a lot going on, and I think the big challenge is to find what people want to find, to decide what it is that would be most effective for them, at certain levels. I'm going to speak into that a little bit more.
So, for the past 10 years, I guess, Beja work has been drifting onto the internet and off of just the airwaves and cassette tapes. In fact, about 10 years ago, we had a stockpile of cassette tapes, and our friends in Sudan were trying to distribute those cassette tapes, and they came back and said, all the Beja told them they listen to their music on their phones, and they don't want those cassette tapes anymore. So they had to go to some other type of distribution, which turned out to be SD cards at the time.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. The funny thing was that the foreigners that the Sudanese were talking to, none of them had smartphones. They all had dumb phones. They didn't know what an SD card was, but the Sudanese all knew. So they were actually ahead of their foreign friends. Today, a lot of it is directly based on the internet, though, and so all the resources that are recorded are immediately put up. They're posted either on SoundCloud or YouTube, and they are available through Facebook. And then what used to be called radio follow-up, well, I guess it's still called radio follow-up, but it's a misnomer, is done by WhatsApp through social media. And so there's a lot of work that's going on, but it's all done at a computer screen, or much more done at a computer screen, which is pretty convenient in a time like this when people can't visit each other the way they normally would. You can't go sit and drink coffee with your friends, but you can call them up on WhatsApp and do a video chat on WhatsApp. And you can share a file on WhatsApp or link up on Facebook. And so there are a couple of websites that are doing a good job of trying to reach Beja, not just Beja, but Sudanese as well. There's one called Radio Samar. Again, it's that word radio again, but it doesn't really mean radio. It's the offspring of radio. And they have what would have been radio programs that go on, but they are on the radio a little bit, but they're really internet broadcasts now. And people can listen 24 hours a day, if they want to these radio broadcasts on the internet.
Very good. Okay. So now, since they're able to do that, tell me about, you talked about the translations a little bit last time. What do they have story form in the languages? You were saying they only had a few books that they listen to now.
Right. So because we've had a lot of production over the years in Bedouit and Tigrayat, and so we have several hundred Bible stories that have been prepared that are available on the internet. We also have a lot of social programming to try to teach people health lessons or teach people how to improve the quality of their lives, basically, that are available on Radio Samar and a few other places. As well, we have a lot of resources in Arabic that have been produced. It's in a dialect called Northern Sudanese, which is very close to the same as you would have in southern Egypt. Very
good. That's interesting to know. Even between the languages, the Beja, do they recognize one another as being Bija, or would that even be a different people group because of the language?
That's a great question, Hans. So the Bija have a lot of discussion and debate about who is and who is not Bija. And so the most inclusive perspective would include everybody in those three groups that are up on the map there. However, when you get to some places, there are conflicts between groups, and when there's a conflict, when there's usually conflict among Bija, it results in sword fights, and they carry swords in Sudan. They're not allowed to carry them in Egypt, but they carry them in Sudan, and when they have conflict, they settle it with violence. And when those conflicts erupt, then they start separating, and usually the Bedouin speakers will say that the Tigrayot speakers are not real Bija. And the Bedouin speakers and the Tigrayot speakers would all say that the Arabic speakers are Bija, but the Arabic speakers themselves might say that they are not. They wouldn't claim it because they would rather be Arabs
Okay.
than Bija. So it gets a little messy.
Kind of depends on who you ask as to who's a Bija and where and when, huh?
That's right. It does. One thing that I would like to mention is that we have a website and a Facebook page that people who are interested in Bija or interested in Bija work might want to look up. The website is called bijafriends.org, and the Facebook page is the Bija Friends Facebook page.
Okay, bijafriends.org or Bija Friends on Facebook.
That's right.
Spell Bija, B-E-J-A?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, spell Bija, B-E-J-A, and you can check that website out, or you can check them out on Facebook, and what might they find?
You'll find lots of information about Bija. You'll find prayer requests up there. You'll find some of the recording resources. There's a lot of stuff. The Bija Friends have been at work.
Very good. Thank you so much for all that information. Thank you for being with us and sharing with us. And thank you for the work that you do when you're on the field and the work that you do when you're here. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you next time.